everyone, and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rutan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show, where I hope to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. Thanks for watching. I hope you watched the interview with Pedro Vieira from Esperero and Mercedes Winery. Esperero is down in Alentejo, down there in the southern part of Spain, Portugal, sorry, and then Mercedes is up in Duero. Had a great trip over to Portugal, Spain. Pedro was a great host, and we did an interview up in the Yeatman overlooking Portugal. It was Porto, excuse me. Great interview. I hope you watch it. It was very short but very informative. Just a couple random thoughts I wanted to go through before I started tasting the wines from Spain, which is appropriate because I was just in Spain. Actually, Spain reminded me a lot of Eastern Washington for some reason. What I liked about Spain is you could drive 100 miles an hour. Not 100 kilometers, 100 miles an hour, about 160 kilometers, and yeah, they didn't even pay attention to you. So I went up to past Toro, went up to Rioja, Ribera del Duero, Conterno, San Francisco. Thank you, Chiza, for sharing your wines with me. They were excellent. Thank you, Montepidoso, for sharing your Verdejo. They have about, 40-some acres of Verdejo planted, and very good stuff. I really appreciated that. I appreciated my trip to Esperero in Alentejo, down in the southern part of Portugal, and of course Mercedes. Dave Baverstock, I appreciated meeting him. And they're going to do an event with me next year. I'm hoping that all works out. Looking forward to that. And just one little random thought. I was on Twitter just not too long ago. And you know what? I don't understand why people that they follow you because they know you follow back and then they drop you. They just want to gain followers. You know, guess what? I think that whatever your opinion is, I think that's wrong. If you're going to follow somebody, follow them because you want to follow them. I follow people because I want to. If somebody follows me, they're not in my genre, they're not in social media or wine or something related, maybe food. You know, I don't follow back. Not that I don't appreciate them following me, it's just, we need to delineate who we follow. Anyway, just a little pet peeve of mine. Don't follow me unless you plan on continuing to follow me, because it really irritates me when I look and say they just drop me like 3 days after I follow back. Anyway, enough of that. Now we're going to taste some Spanish wines. One from Ribera del Duero, which is really cool. I was up there. That's the Duero River, which goes all the way to the Atlantic Ocean, and I was in Porto, which is not too far from the Atlantic Ocean, and I'm up in, and a quick shout out to my wife, Bridget. She was a great sport. She's not huge into wine. She just was a trooper. She went with the group. She made great friends with them. And she fell in love with white port tonic with a lemon twist. I think that's really cool. Great drink, by the way. If you've never had it, it's white port tonic lemon twist. It's really good. So let's get started. We're doing Spanish wines. This is Aster Winery, Ribera del Duero, which we talked about, which is just below Rioja, kind of below and to the west of Rioja, southwest of Rioja. 92 points, Wine Spectator 2009, Tempranillo, let's take a look at the label, and imported by Unique Wines. My buddies Scott Murphy, a couple other guys. For some reason it is escaping me their names. Oh, come on, Stan. By the way, no tablecloth today. I'm going to try and perfect this without the tablecloth. I don't think my wife likes the orange tablecloth on the bar. So, Crianza means it was at least 1 year in barrel, 3 years bottle aging. Let's take a look at the nose. I love wines from Ribera del Duero. They're some of the best values. Vega Sicilia, huge winery in Ribera del Duero. Very similar, they do Tempranillo, they do Vieira, but mainly Tempranillo. Has a really earthy, iron kind of cherry notes to it with a lot of like clay. Little black olive coming through, just a hint of bittersweet chocolate, which I really appreciate. Very like baked earth, which you expect from old world wines. It's really curious to me. It's one of these things I've kind of been debating. And you know, it's probably the age of the vines, all that, their methodology of making wines. But it is a very, very, very distinct line between old world and new world on the nose, in the mouth, and it's really cool. That's one of the cool things about the wine world. You got Spain, France, Italy, you know, all very old world, Germany, Austria, very old world wines, and you know, they just have a very distinct quality compared to the US, compared to Argentina, compared to Canada, all those New World style, Australia, New Zealand. I mean, very distinct differences, which I find very interesting. You can smell the minerals, kind of that kind of wet stone rocky thing going on. By the way, this rolls in at $20. I have a visitor in my spit bucket here. Good acidity. When we say good acidity in the wine world, I mean this definitely needs a steak. It definitely needs food. That's what we're talking about. Strong backbone of acid, very mineral driven, very earthy, baked earth, forest floor. A little like cherry, cranberry notes, bright fruit. I'm going to venture and say, I mean, just the baked earth is very prominent. Wet stone. I'm going to say, just wild ass guess. This is a 30% wine. 30% of my customers are going to like this. I like this wine. The acid is very high, up there. It doesn't have a lot of, there's no New World in this at all. There's no fat fruit, there's none of that. I think it needs to age at least another 3 to 5 years. It's going to flesh out a little bit. It's a little tight, very tight, wound up, acidic. Hasn't opened up yet. It's an 09, 5 years old. It needs lamb, it needs a lamb burger, it needs pizza, it needs a steak of some sort with a lot of fat on it. I think it would definitely complement this wine. But I'm going to have to go B- because I think at this point I'm not absolutely positive, as nobody can be. I disagree with the Wine Spectator. It is not a 92-point wine. And by the way, for those of you that wonder, I mean, we get wine reviews. I mean, I appreciate wine reviews, whether it's a Spectator, Wine Enthusiast, because it kind of gives you, well, these guys are excited about it. Maybe I should try it. Not so sure about this. I understand that maybe they're looking at the potential of this wine, which is great. I understand that. I'm still going B-. Let's move on to the next one. Give it a little rinse. Get that acid-driven, mineral-driven wine, which, by the way, I really like. Don't get me wrong, I like it a lot, but I look at things from a retail standpoint, from the broad spectrum of everybody that might taste these wines, and that's the way I have to look at wines. This is Lapid Agnes Priorat. Now we're going clear over to the East Coast, over by Barcelona, 2012, and this is, let me see here, it tells you 85% Grenache, and 15% Carignan, or Carignan. This rolls in at 18 US dollars. There you go. So Priorat is an up-and-coming region like Toro, which is really close over to Ribera del Duero. Priorat is, a really nice. Ooh, thank goodness I'm wearing black pants. I'm trying to do this up in the air because I don't have my tablecloth, so I don't want all the noise. So this is again, the minerality coming through on the nose. A lot of red cherry and red plum notes coming through. I get a little bit of that iron, just like I got on the Aster wine. Very aromatic. It's really popping, which makes me curious about the alcohol on this. Let's see if we can find it real quick. I don't know. And this is Casa Ventura, a dude really close to us. They're an importer up in Bellingham. 14.5 alcohol, so not a baby. It's punching the alcohol level. Get a little strawberry on the backside of this, a cranberry, cherry, strawberry thing going on, which I really like. Very aromatic, very very intense on the nose. A hit of tobacco for sure, bittersweet chocolate. Let's see what we get on the palate. Very earthy, mineral driven. The cherry tobacco notes come through big time. I don't get a lot of that red plum on the palate itself, but it's definitely there. Tobacco big time. The mineral notes like crushed rock, wet stone come through big time. But again, a little fleshier than the previous example, no doubt from the Grenache. And then right at the very back end on the palate, you get a little bit of that white pepper, which is so unique to Grenache from Spain, or Grenache even from the Vaccaraz region of France, the Rhone Valley. A lot of red flowers on the backside, like rose petal, violets. They come through big time. Good acidity, not quite as bright as the earlier version that we did, the first one we just tried, but it's there, making it a food wine. But yet at the same time, it's a little fleshier, a little more approachable as far as the palate goes. I don't have to guess that this one will be really good in a couple of years. I know it will be, 2012. I like this one a lot. I like this importer actually, Casa Ventura. They do a nice job. They remind me a little bit, not entirely, of Jorge Ordóñez. He goes more for the big fruit bomb style wines from Spain, if you can call them that. They all have their sort of, obviously old world edge. The minerality comes through on the back end. I really like this wine actually. Yeah, I get the red plum right up front. I got it. cherries, red cherries. Like this wine a lot. And what they always say about Spanish wines is they're a nice wine to get people to transition from New World to Old World because they have a little bit more of that fruit. This is a little more on the Old World side, but I really like it. I'm going to go B+ on this wine, $18. It's a great value. You know, yeah, that's a yes. That's a thumbs up. Well, the other ones, I mean, B-. Let's face it, that's above average. Good wine, just not sure how it's going to flesh out. Just not sure how many people are going to like it. Now we're going on to a big boy from Rioja, which is really, if you think about it, Rioja is like the dominant region of France. Probably next to Sherry down in southern France. This is Vina Ardanza Reserva, and it's La Rioja Alta, and it is a 2005 Crianza, at least in barrel 3 years, in bottle 1 year, in barrel 1 year, bottle 2 years, 3 years aging before release. This one rolls in at $33, so nothing to sneeze at. But think about it, Rioja, Ribera del Duero wines that are, you know, in the Reserva range definitely demand more money because of the aging. You know, you just think about all the stuff they have to put into it. Let's see what we get on the nose. Oh, this has a classic Rioja nose. Kind of that soapy, perfumey leather, like somebody took a bar of lavender soap and rubbed it on leather, and there it is. A little meaty. Minerality coming through. Like dark cherries underneath. I get a little bittersweet chocolate on this one. Very, very perfumey. Like I said, like that lavender rose soap rubbed on leather. A little bit of forest floor, kind of that, you know, like a little bit of needles, old rotted needles, and you know, all that stuff that's on the forest floor. Forest floor. A little bit of bark, tobacco. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. For those of you that kind of get geeky about this thing, this is a great bottle of wine as far as aromatics. Let's see what we get on the palate. Great complexity. I mean, you know this wine has a lot going on. You get a little bit of like this spice box thing on the back end. Very, very deep bark, tobacco, dark cherries, leather, a lot of stuff going on. This is a very intriguing wine, very deep, very complex. You know, I always hate that when the most expensive one really shows itself. I mean, the Priorat was fantastic for 18 bucks. But this goes to the next level. Now, you know, granted, there's a lot of wines out there going for over 100 bucks, up to $400. You know, and this one just has a lot of stuff going on. I mean, I'm very, very intrigued by this wine. A little bit of chocolate on the very back end. The finish is like, are you kidding me? It's still going on. A little bit of spice box, chocolate, cherry, bark, forest floor. Love it. Good acidity. I'm going to just step out and say that if you tucked a couple of these away, buy 3 or 4 of them, put them away for, if you have the patience, 8 to 10 years, this baby is going to be unbelievable. I'm willing to stake my reputation on that. This has the guts, has the acidity, to go the length, to go that time. You know, 5 years will be probably good. It's definitely going to improve over 5 years, but very good wine. I'm going to go A minus on this one. I think it's really good. There you go. Some Spanish wines, some Spanish love. I got to be to Spain, first time ever in my life. You know, hopefully I get to go again. I really enjoyed the trip. Cheers. And here's to keeping the snob out of wine.